Good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you. If it's your first time listening in to No Guts, No Story, hopefully you will feel like you get some great value today. I'm going to be bringing it all about you. So if you have someone that you love, you care about, you want to give them that little shot in the arm, that little boost of confidence, maybe someone that you know is struggling, maybe they're trying to figure out which direction, their purpose, their passion, their career, their relationship. I have a treat for you today. And it's not me, it's never me. Don't ever put me up on a pedestal. I feel like there is just the spirit that comes over me every Saturday morning on No Guts, No Story. I have no notes, no idea where it's going. Just know it's about to flow. And I love this hour of every Saturday morning because it happens. It just happens. And I want to ask you a question. When do you feel like you're just in your element? When do you feel like you're just like, yes, this is where I was born to be? Good morning, Lindsay. When do you feel like you're soaring with your strengths? When are you happiest? Some people will be like, I'm happiest when I have an Excel spreadsheet and my little calculator and my red pen. This is my mother-in-law, Cindy. She always was a partner with us in every company we ever started, ran, sold, whatever. And she was a boss. Like, she was just a boss because she would be over there with her little calculator, with her little, she didn't have glasses, she had contacts, but I would have to have my smart girl glasses. And she would have her calculator, not just like on her phone, but like the big calculator that had the little paper that came out of it. And it even printed in red and black and blue, and she would write her shorthand. And she would have a red pen on everything Dave and I ever wrote, always checking our grammar, thank God, and always correcting us, proofreading. She was the boss. And I needed that in my life. But if you gave me a red pen, a calculator, an Excel database, and told me to go sit down, I still don't understand how to work Excel, right? Like, I have my whole database, but like how to alphabetize it or column up something with a total or a subtotal. I'd be crazy, right? That's why I married Dave, because he's the brains behind everything that I do. And I'm the idea girl, right? Like, I'm creative, I'm enthusiastic. I have so many dreams and goals. I need like 3 lifetimes to live them all. Not even kidding. Yesterday, one idea alone, I was like, gosh, I wish I was 25, right? But we all have things that we're like, this is our juice. This is what inspires us. This is what gets us up and gets us going. And for some people, they don't know what their purpose is. They have no idea. They've never felt that. Maybe they've never experienced their firstborn child yet. Like, when you have your firstborn, you're never going to be the same. And for some people, that's not in their DNA. That's not in their purpose. That's not, maybe it was their wish. Maybe it was their dream, but there is something else that God is going to use them for. And there's something that he's going to use you for. And some of you are still trying to figure that out. I am just so grateful. I'm so thankful. I am so humbled. I am so full of fire for what I'm doing right now. I cannot even tell you how happy I am. And this morning I posted and I put, you're going to be happier than you've ever been. And then one of my mentors quickly called me, a spiritual mentor, a prayer warrior. She's like, Barb, they're not going to be happy. Like, that's definitely not the course. They're not going to be happy because life is going to be a constant struggle. And some of you have not figured that out yet. You're always trying to change the situation. You're in, and me too. You're always trying to fix everybody around you. You're always like, we can do this. I'm never going to quit. I said I was going to do it. I'm never going to quit. And I want to tell you guys something. When life throws things at you, you have to just embrace the situation and ask for guidance, ask for help, ask for that Holy Spirit, ask for the universe, whatever it is. I'm not going to get into a debate with you about what your beliefs are. But if you know, you know. If you know, you know. And for me, when I had my firstborn, I didn't have a very strong faith at that time. I mean, I was raised a little Baptist girl, but it was really a lot of rules. Like, Barb, you can't wear red fingernail polish. And why are you wearing a 2-piece? How did you get this swimsuit in your bag to go swimming? Like, I was constantly getting in trouble for all the rules. So my belief system said, if you're going to be really faithful and you're going to be really a good religious person, right? There's going to be all these rules. It's not going to be any fun. You're not going to be able to be yourself, blah, blah, blah. And, I thought I was a believer. I mean, I was praying the night that Dave came into my life, but I was always praying about everything else and everyone else around me. It was never about me. And I just want to ask you guys for the next 15 or 20 minutes, and I'm going to tell you, if you don't already know, where you can get the free course that Dave and I just did, full day of recording last Saturday. I'm telling you, it's not about what you would think it would be about. Everyone says, Barb Pitcock, if you were to brand Barb Pitcock, what would you say that I am? And honestly, I don't think you know me. Like, I don't think any of you know me. You see me a certain way. Some people think, oh, it's Barb Pitcock. She did this, she did that, she did that. But none of you know the real me. And I cannot wait to just step into my space and do what I do and love like I love and teach like I teach and share like I want to share and not worry about any rules. Because those of you that know me, I'm a rule breaker. I was born a rule breaker. I've always been sat out in the hall, the chatterbox duck, send her to the office, put her in a box. Let me tell you guys something. I've always been getting in trouble for pushing the envelope on all the rules because my brain doesn't even work that way. Like, we are raised by someone that God gives us to, right? Like, we co-create, like, these are my parents. This is my mom. This is my dad. Whatever happened when I was between the ages of 2 and 5 is who I am. And I'm going to step into that. Whatever happened to you between the ages of 2 and 5, that's who you are. And I want to give you a big news flash. There is nothing wrong with you. You're freaking amazing. The only thing that's wrong is that you keep letting people put labels, lids, boundaries, rules, titles, educations, letters behind your name, your community, that little community that you grew up in. I say that with a screaming face because we all have it. I saw a post the other day of a girl that broke out of her specific church. I didn't even read it. I didn't even want to go there. I don't know who's right, who's wrong, if it's a cult, if it's not a cult, whatever. But she shared her entire ugly story. I mean, everything that she went through and how she felt so good that she finally broke out. And you know what? I was happy for her. I was grateful for her. I think that it's amazing that she's able to step into her greatness. Someone out there probably related to her, everything she's been through, gone through, like that is how God is going to use her, obviously, or not. Because sometimes we think we're stepping into our greatness and we think, oh, this is my purpose, this is my passion. And it's a struggle the whole damn time. And then one day you're like, okay, God, where are you in this? Like, if it's not good, it's not God. If it doesn't feel good, it's not God. If you're not serving and loving and waking up every day on fire about it, it's not God. And for some of you, you're hanging on to the title. You're hanging on to the community. You're hanging on to all the people that worship you like you're some kind of a, prophet or something, because that's who you are and that's who you think you're always going to be. And one day when you look in the mirror and you say, who is she? What is she doing? Why does she feel this way? Why does he feel that way? And you really peel back the onion. I mean, Les Brown says it best. Life is like an onion. You have to peel it back one layer at a time. And sometimes you cry. And I want to tell you guys something. There is nothing wrong with that. Here's what I see people doing wrong. This is just my philosophy. You can all crucify me if you want for being wrong. But this is my opinion. People, how do I say this and be morally and ethically correct without pissing everybody off? People will not stand up. They will not speak what they really feel. They will not be who they really are because they want to be loved. They don't want to be judged. They want to be accepted. And they don't want to rock the boat with anybody else. And I've been doing this majority of my life because of what happened between ages 2 and 5. And I get it now. I get it, get it, get it. Because I read some great books. I listened to some great speakers. I've studied the personalities. I've been in the Bible, even though I'm not really a Bible scholar. But man, I can tell you, since December 26th, when I found myself so sick in bed, third sickness in 4 week span, I was literally on my knees, literally by the toilet, praying, asking for guidance. And it was just like a boom. Like, I mean, it's like he kept telling me what to do. And I was like, there is no way on God's green earth that I'm going to do that. So I resisted. And then it happened again. And I was like, how in the world would I even do that? Like, how would I survive? How would that work? How would that be? And I'm going to ask you guys a question. Have you ever not been provided for? Have you ever not had enough to survive? Have you ever not been able to get through the day or the night? And I think we're all here today. Thank God. By the grace of God, we have this breath, one more day. The true tragedy, though, in life is not when we die. This is my epiphany, because I had just witnessed a very traumatic, not just a month, but a year. Like, I have a gag order in a lot of areas. Like, I can't tell you what I have experienced, but I couldn't even tell you that I was expecting a grandbaby. The grandbaby announcement came on the day of Cindy's only going to live for a few more days type of announcement. And, you couldn't even be happy and excited, even though you were, because there was like so much pain, right? And the last 2 days, I've been up praying 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning with a family member, another gag order. Can't even tell people what I'm going through. But you know what? I'm focused on something that's very, very important. And I want you guys to all get this. What is God doing for you in this chapter? And when I say, Dave, why are all these things happening to us? Dave says to me, they're not happening to us, Barb. They're happening to everyone around us. You are just an empath that feels all of their feelings. And whether they're heartbroken or they're experiencing a gold medal, or they just went through a horrible sickness, or they just hit the bajillion-dollar lottery, you feel all the feels all the time, Barb. You feel their feels. You love so hard. You are literally like, they can go through it and you experience it more than they do because you feel like that. And you know what, guys? I'm not going to apologize. I know it is my soul plan. I know it is God's purpose in my life. And I can't change who I am. I am who I am. It's the way that God created me. I'm not going to apologize. I'm going to be unapologetically me. And I want you to look in the mirror today and say, I am going to be unapologetically me. Me, meaning you. Say your name. I, Tammy Turner. I, Michelle Voris. I, Tanya Hartley. I, Lindsay Testa. I, Amy Cross. I am going to step into my greatness and be unapologetically me. So now let me ask you a quick question. No matter who you listen to, and I'm not going to start naming people because there's so many false prophets in the world today. So many. People are literally glorifying a freaking shoe and a shirt and a mansion and a private jet. And like, I see it all. I see it all because I'm right there, right? I know the billionaire. I know the rock star. I know the Kansas City Chiefs player. Like, they're all the same, you guys. At the end of the day, everyone pulls down their pants, sits on the throne exactly like you do. But we glorify these people because we heard their story. Oh my God, they've made so much money. Oh my God, you see the house they moved into. Oh my God, do you see who he married? She's the most beautiful chick on the planet. You know what? We've all seen that. Tom Brady, everyone said, married the most beautiful woman on the planet. And I will promise you, with all the Super Bowl rings, with all the fame, with all the fortune, with all the money, that man has experienced some of his worst pain with all the money and all the fame and all the fortune and all the titles in the world. And I want to tell you, you're right, Lindsay. What you said is what I said. We all do that, yes. But what I think about is my times where I had the most money and this is being completely transparent, the most money, the most titles, the most wealth is sometimes the most horrible chapters of my life. True story. Dave would agree. My times when I had nothing, and I'm not preaching don't have money because I'm all about people having a legacy, income, and building an empire. But let's just be real. What you think you see is not what you see. Everything that glitters is not gold. And there is a country music song about that. I know there is. It is so, so true. Because deep behind all of those layers is this person. Like, you want their life. You want their fame. You want their lifestyle. You want their freedom. You want that relationship they have or whatever. But you don't want to go through the struggle, right? Like, God, just fast forward me to the end where it's like, and they lived happily ever after. Please don't take me through the jungle, right? I love the Jerry Clark training about the jungle because he's like, here we are. And then over there's paradise, right? Over there's paradise. We want the fame. We want the fortune. We want the Maserati. We want the castle or the mansion or the lake house or the big ass boat or for me, it was dumb things. Like, I didn't want to have a minivan with no muffler on it. Like, I didn't want to pull in to the neighborhood at night and wake up everybody at 2 a.m. after I got finished driving 4 hours one way to show a meeting to a room full of people that were all already in and nobody bought. And the two that were there were negative because their check went down. Like, that's the part nobody gets, right? How did Barb Pitcock end up in this? How did she end up being an author or being able to buy this lake house or whatever? You guys, you don't understand the suck that I went through before I got to that. And every single one of you need to learn this. You are going to need to be conditioned to be a winner, to be a champion, to write the book, to tell the story, to stand on the stage, to be that person that can truly have someone listen to your story and say, I respect her so much because she's telling me the truth right now. Like, this is no facade. I'm not living the life of my dreams and everything's peachy and rosy. I'm going through everyday stuff just like every one of you, the trauma, the sickness, the sadness, the suffering, because that's what we're promised on this big circle that's spinning around. But I choose, this is the big thing, and this is why Dave and I dropped our training that we dropped today in the middle of the suck. I choose to reframe everything that happens to me, jump out of the pile of poop and say, how is God going to use me? This is going to make a great story someday. Nobody will believe it. We always say it'll be Pitcock's Believe It or Not, kind of like Ripley's Believe It or Not. But someday there's going to be a day where I tell this story and people go, wow, that's amazing. Like, if you can do it, Barb, I can do it. And you guys, that's what you really want to be. Not someone that everyone idolizes, that your life is amazing, but a witness. I want to be a witness. I want to serve. I want to change people's lives. Here's the problem. There's not a lot of money in going around, being a witness, sharing your heart, doing it for free every Saturday morning like I do right here, right? But it gives me so much more happiness and purpose and passion. And so I would hang on. I got to do a show every weekend. I mean, I need to be in a show, Dave. I need to be in a show because I could make $100,000 if I was at the ABS Beauty Show. But I would get to the ABS Beauty Show and I'm rocking it. At the end of the day, we're counting all these hundies. We're all looking at the batch on our square. We've opened up 20 new accounts. We have all these salons. I can't breathe. I have pneumonia. I'm literally laying on the floor. My feet hurt so bad. Tear my Achilles tendon from all the prescriptions I've been on for the breathing. I'm away from my husband. My granddaughter's up in the room with Nana Cindy. And I'm down there grinding for what? Because it was part of that story. You know, every single one of us has to go through the times where we figure out what we don't want based on the way we feel. So I had all this money. I had tons of money in the bank. I remember the year that I was about to turn 50, I was like, I want to be debt-free at 50. I thought that had such a great ring to it, right? Well, some of you haven't figured this out yet, but there's good debt and there's bad debt. And being debt-free is all fun and games until the government takes all the money that you did make because you don't have any deductions. So that year, I had a paradigm shift because I turned 50 during COVID-19. I turned 50 during all of this fame, all of this fortune, this fastest growing brand, all of this money. And I have a child that's falling apart. I have a husband that I never see. I have grandkids that are 15 hours away. And do you know what happened to me, you guys? I got invited to sit down at a table where there was a guy that helped me have a paradigm shift, thank God, right before the entire world shut down. And I realized that it wasn't all about being there, cashing out batches every single day, but I would go back to an industry that I loved because I love helping people and take my focus off of a company that was all mine and get back in the field and start serving. Now, I want to ask you guys a question. I'll give you an example that my son tells me all the time. He says, this is my career. This is my passion project. Chance Pitcock had some things happen between the age of 2 and 5. And he has certain beliefs and he has certain strengths. He's always been an entrepreneur, but he is the best freaking athlete I've ever watched. Ever, ever, ever. In fact, he went to a tryout a couple months ago and there was like 30 or 40 people there. He had the fastest 40. He had the highest pro agility. The only thing he didn't have was the college experience, right? And it was a pro team. And I was like excited because it would be closer to us. And at the end of the day, I say to Dave, how did it go? He was there. I wasn't. I said, how did it go? It was amazing. I'm going to send you the video, Barb. It's freaking amazing. But you've got this kid who is destined for greatness, tons of talent, whatever, always been an entrepreneur, like serial entrepreneur. And he loves contribution. Contribution is like when you do his values, it's contribution. So one day we're talking, he's like, Mom, this particular business did like $30,000 this month. And I don't know why, but I get more excitement over making a shirt for SAP, which is his nonprofit clothing line. It's called Scott Allen Project. He said, Mom, I get more excitement about a kid wearing this shirt to high school and I like created that fashion design than I do looking at my batch at the end of the day. And the shirt I sold for 50, I had 35 in it, then I shipped it, and this little chunk of change goes over here, and that could go to bring a speaker into a school or make a difference or have some kid like not make a permanent lifelong decision, life-ending decision based on a temporary situation. Like, what is wrong with me, right? He has 3 babies, 1 on the way, constantly grinding. Like, he is just always working smarter instead of working harder, but always coming out with stuff. But where he's happiest is designing fashion and going to the gym. Like, going to the gym every morning. I was just there for a week. I wake up, I go down to get my coffee. I can't even see straight. It's 5 a.m. I hear the Tesla pull in and the door go down, and I'm like, he's already been to the gym and back. One morning he says to me, Mom, do you want to wake up and go to the gym with me? And I said, no, I don't. That doesn't even sound good to me at all. But you know what? Here's why Chance wants me to go to the gym with him. Because his values are long vitality, health, taking care of this vessel, like putting in the time, paying the rent on this body that is going to perform and be amazing. And you know, guys, if we knew why we were doing it, we would probably want to go to the gym. If we knew why we were going through the sacrifice, it was going to be the best chapter of the book, we would probably be so excited about the sacrifice. But when we're going through the chapter, we don't know why we are going through it. We don't know. We're like, why is this happening to me? And I want to tell you my aha word for you. It's discernment. Sometimes you've got to practice discernment. Sometimes you have to say, I don't really have to do anything right now, but just be and trust and have faith and pray and do what someone's telling me to do. Hey, Esther. Wow. One of the greatest speakers I've ever heard watching this live. So what I want to tell you guys right now is that my aha moment came to me that I didn't have to worry about how it was going to happen. How it's going to happen is really none of my business. I don't have to worry about the how. What I have to worry about is the why. And I want you guys to sit down and say, am I doing everything the how? Or am I really focused on the why? So I did the 10X growth climb this week, and it was, well, I'll just say there were a couple of speakers that really hit me. And so it's like a buffet, right? You might go to a buffet, and if you're like Dave, you're like, beets? I am not eating the beets. Ugh. Like Dave can't even look at my plate on a buffet because it's very colorful, right? It's mounted with everything and the juices. And Dave's like, you could just be a salad person. Like I could. All the sauces, the creamier, the better. Dave's over there. He doesn't want them touching. He eats a bite of each thing at one time. I eat all of one thing, then the next. We're way different. But when we're at the buffet, what I love and what he loves is two different things. He cannot wait to get the rolls and the dessert. And I'm over there looking for the pea salad, the spinach, the beets, the cottage cheese, especially if they have grapefruit that you can put like on it or in it. And the whole time he's like, ugh. Like we went last night to our favorite restaurant in Hayes, Gutierrez's. And I got extra guacamole. Dave got none. He got a plain chimichanga. I got a fajita. I didn't even touch the tortillas, right? I just want to put the guacamole, the cheese, the steak, all the veggies together and like have that. And then at the end of this day, let me also rephrase. He ordered all of the cookies he could get from Kendra Mitchell's daughter. Girl Scout cookies arrived. Yesterday morning, we had to pick up a vehicle. Our truck got stolen while we were in Arizona and ended up 30 minutes away from here. So Dave was like, oh, just park it, put the keys in the gas tank. We'll be back next Monday. So, we wake up yesterday morning and the first thing we have to do is drive to another town and get the truck. But where's the truck? It's at Casey's. What's at Casey's? My favorite cheat thing, the flip donut that's filled with the raspberry. Like Dave gags when it even starts to cream out when I bite it. Like I bite it and it's like flaky and it has frosting and he's like, wah! Or I think I get him a maple long john. He bites into it and the vanilla pudding or the cream comes out. He's gagging over there, guys. Here's the thing. This is how I am at an event. I go to 10X because I like the energy. I go to the 10X ladies because I like the energy. I go and I invest because if I get one line, a one-liner from one person, it changes my life. And last February when I went, I got one line and it was amazing. And the only network marketing lady in the entire room of like 5,000 women was one, Stormy Wellington. And she can move a room. Like this lady can move a room. Her and I are polar opposites, but we're in the same industry, right? Like for $1 million, I couldn't do some of the things she does on a live, not even for $2 million, but it works for her, right? I can't change who I am to try and be Stormy Wellington. I never could be. First of all, we don't have the same color skin. She's single, I'm married. She's in the city, I'm in the country. But you know what? We both have something in common. We've both been the top earner in a company in our industry. And we got there doing something exactly the same, being you. Everyone needs to step into who they are. Quit trying to be like everyone else. So I'm watching this speaker and I don't watch a lot of TV, you guys. I mean, I do love Shark Tank. Dave and I actually did a deal with Shark Tank and our VO Oils company. They chose our company and it was crazy. We had the big banner at all those shows that I was telling you about. It was Kevin Harrington before it was the sharks that they have now. And I mean, it was a big deal, but you guys want to tell me how many times have you put your name by somebody else and you think, oh, I'm going to do so good now. I'm going to have so much credibility. You idolize these people. And what happens? Because the higher you put people up on a pedestal, the farther they come falling down. And all of a sudden, you think you need to be somebody else's you know what in order to succeed. You don't. You need to be you. And when they announce who's the best looking shark on Shark Tank, of course, who do you guys think everybody said? Who do you think they said? Drop in the comments. Who do you think of when they say, who's the best looking shark on Shark Tank? And then they introduce this guy. And I mean, Callie and Darian are like, oh, I know him. I watch all of him. And, Chance and Daisy did too. I watch and I love listening to it. But you guys, the reality is, I think sometimes they're kind of mean. And that's because I'm an empath, right? We all need someone to tell us the truth, not what we need to hear. But I have a hard time watching someone's idea and their dream and their goal just be completely freaking crucified because it doesn't fit the formula for what? To make a ton of money. And I think we're all chasing that. Like it all comes down to, is that going to make you the most money? Is that going to be the $1 billion idea? Is that going to be the brand that gets everywhere in Target and Ulta and all these places? And you guys, the reality is you don't have to be accepted by everyone to be great. And there are some people with $1 billion that have no time, no freedom. They have no happiness. They have no calling their own shots. They're not even doing what they love because they want to do what they love. But over here, that's where the bank bag is. And you guys, I really believe that we can all go to the pay window and have enough to be so happy and so free and have so much success and do what we love every single day and not have anyone else calling the shots. And that's a scary decision. That's a very scary decision. But this is what Robert, who they call the best looking shark off Shark Tank, I don't know, you guys be the judge. Robert Herjavec, he comes out and he says to the host, oh, I'm so excited to be here. And he's like, where's all the people? And the people are in another room, right? And it's a virtual event. And he's like, this is crazy. Like, I've never seen anything like this. And there's tens of thousands of people blowing up the newsfeed of this virtual event. And then there's, maybe like 5% of that over here in the live room. And people don't believe this yet, you guys, but you go virtual, you change the world. You go to what I've always done, how I've always done it. You're going to get a few people. You're going to have some follow. You're going to have some buy the flight, get the ticket, get the room, max out their credit card, come there, sit there, get sold everything, whatever. And I'm saying at every event. Like, this is what happens. You go into debt because you're going to the event, right? But here was thousands of people in the virtual room spending the same exact money, buying the tapes, buying the coaching, buying the program, whatever. And he reached 100 times more people over here in a virtual room than he had in the room. But he needed the ones in the room to have the energy, right? So we don't need to have everyone at the table. We just need the people at the table or the people in the seats that are going to bring the energy. But we can't reach everyone if we're always focused on what's right here in this little room that I've always known and I've always done. So Dave and I were like, how could we do this? I mean, we know that we're happiest when we're speaking and training and serving and witnessing and helping other people. It doesn't make any money unless you're going to charge a lot of people. And my biggest pet peeve, you guys, my biggest pet peeve, not naming any names, but sometimes I literally have to turn off the recording, the event, the podcast, even the live virtual events. We all know we're not stupid. I hate when someone comes out and they do the same script where there's all these things. Hold on a minute. This is the guy that dropped our website. 1 minute. Hang on. Hello. I'm in the middle of my live. But I see it dropped because my text message is blowing up. Yes. Okay. I'll call you back. All right. Bye-bye. So the live all-day training that we recorded is now, all you have to do is go there, put your email in, you get the whole thing. But let me get back to my story. Here's what's not going to happen when you go to our site. A funnel where it says it's free, and then there's a capture page that says, are you sure you don't want the VIP ticket? And then another page that says, would you like us to send you all of our books? Like, there's nothing for sale on this page, you guys. I have no idea how this is going to work. This is what I know. I know that when you show up, you go up. I know that when you give, it all comes back tenfold. I know that God has always provided and he always will. And I know what I'm good at. I want to ask you guys a question. What are you good at? What are you good at? Go do that and do it like a maniac. Do it like your life depends on it. Whatever you're good at. I was doing a coaching session with a girl the other day. I said, what are you good at? She goes, I love to do crafts. I said, do crafts. She goes, well, how would I do that? Like, I'm in network marketing. I go, do you like network marketing? She goes, I mean, I do, but not right now. I go, then do crafts. Like, why are you trying to do something that you don't like because it's what you've always done when you really love to do crafts. She goes, well, how would I do that? I go, well, my daughter started an Etsy page. She does pretty good. In fact, she's made more money on her Etsy page some months than some of my best networkers. Like, why do you think there's only one way that you can do this? So the question is, what do you want and how do you get it? You know what Robert said? Robert from Shark Tank. Most important thing he said. They said, let me ask you a question. What's the best investment in any business that you've ever made? He said, I invested in myself. I was like, oh my God, that's so good. I'm writing it down, right? And then they said, what's the best advice your dad ever gave you? He goes, my dad worked all day at the factory. Then he came home. He worked long hours. He's like, I was getting bullied. Nobody liked me. Nobody wanted to play with me. And I was like, oh my God, that was me when I was a little kid. My dad was never there. I was redhead, freckle face, copper top, you name it. Like, that was me. I'm like hanging on to every word. What's the best thing that your dad ever told you? My dad told me, stop complaining. Never complain. All you need in life is an opportunity, and you have one right in front of you. So why are you complaining about the way that things are? You are the one that creates the opportunity. And I was like, this is the greatest speaker ever. You know, like, we all have opportunities in front of us if we just go do what we're good at, if we just go do what we love. But then I say, okay, so what am I good at? Ask yourself, what am I good at? So I'm good at painting. Like, I have a couple of cause bears. You can see up here, like, I'm really good at painting. And, you know, these StockX paintings, when we were in Germany, $2,000 a piece. I'm painting that one for free, right? I'm painting it for free because my son loves these cause. And I did one for Callie, and Chance loves it. So I'm doing it for free, but I'm happier doing it for free than if I went and sold it on Etsy, right? So how do I go up? Ask yourself, how do I go up? How do I level up doing the things that I love? You want me to tell you guys something? It's your energy. People have messaged me lately. They say, Barb, your energy is off the chains. Like, you're glowing. You're so happy. You're so excited. You're so healthy. Like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And you know what? I don't even know how to explain it except for the aha moment that I had when I took the focus off of me trying to control everything around me trying to change everybody, me trying to fix situations that weren't good, that had me so perplexed that I was sick. It didn't matter who it was. I was like, when they get better, I'll be better. If they would just change, I would be better. If I could fix this, then everything would be perfect. And one day I was like, nope, I can't. This is my calling. I'm going to go do what I'm good at, and I'm going to let everybody else do what they're good at. And you guys, that's what you have to do. It wasn't just Robert from Shark Tank. There was another speaker that I had never heard. And this was an aha moment for me this week. And you know, him saying invest in yourself, if you guys don't invest in yourself, there is nobody else that you can put all your bets on. There is a lot of people that bet on the Chiefs during the Super Bowl. When we were in Arizona, I was watching all these people just freaking out in the airport about their teams, and they had all their gear and whatever. And you know what happened? On the way home, I bought every bit of Chiefs gear that I wanted 50% off because the hype was over. Everybody had been there. It had happened. They won the Super Bowl, and it was all 50% off. And I came to Kansas, and in Walmart last night on our drive home, it was more expensive in Walmart in my little podunk town than it was in Phoenix, where the Super Bowl actually happened. And I had stood right there and bought everybody all the gear at a discount. At a discount. Do you know why, you guys? Because sometimes it's all hype. It's all hype. And then once it's all over, you're like, wow, why did I do that? Like, this is not quite as exciting as I thought it would be. And the speaker that closed out the day, I had to get onto a plane, so I missed part of it because I couldn't get my internet to work. So I told my son, why don't you call and you watch it? This guy's amazing. His name's Joe DeSena. And then Chance is like, the whole time I was on, all they were doing is selling courses. I was like, well, that's events, right? That's events. They got to get paid some way. But this speaker, he invented something. It's basically like a camp that you go to, and it's like a death crawl or like a death race. I mean, it's called Spartans. And the only people that come there are the people that like love to work out so much they like would like to almost die doing it, which sounds to me like a horrible place to go. But I knew my son would be like, "Let's go, sign me up." Anyway, this guy had a company doing 200 million before COVID happened. And it went to 9 million because there weren't events. Now I want you guys to imagine this. 200 million to 9 million. That's like you making 200,000 and it going to 9,000. Like this is real shit. This was like, I love this guy because he was standing on stage and he's like, somehow by the grace of God we didn't lose everything. He's like, I grew up in Queens. Have you ever seen Goodfellas? Like my family was part of organized crime. And I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds like some of my dad's side of the family. You know, like I'm dying laughing because he's real, he's authentic, he's telling the truth. You knew from the minute he opened his mouth, he was telling the truth. And people know, guys, people aren't stupid. They know. You know a flake when you meet a flake. You know you know what when you hear one. Like, you know, you can already put the labels in. You're even thinking of the people, right? If you would just be you and you would just be real. I was hanging on to every word that this guy said. By the time it was over, I literally wanted to go there on the East Coast. He was like, everybody get down and do one burpee, just one. And I was like, oh my God, if I was there, you know, in front of everybody, this is when I was getting on the plane, like in heels and a suit, and you have to get down and do a burpee. And you know what? Next thing you know, everybody's doing a burpee. They're doing things they thought they couldn't do. And he's taking them as far as they can see so then they can get a little further. But before he ever opened this camp, before he ever did the 200 million, like he was a guy that cleaned pools. He cleaned swimming pools for organized crime criminals and relatives. And he's like, I never had to worry about collecting because if I didn't collect, my uncle would just take care of it. And I mean, everyone is just dying laughing because he's telling his true story. But if he didn't go through the valleys, if he didn't have to clean the pools, if he didn't have the people that wouldn't pay him, if he didn't have criminals in his family, if he hadn't seen the things that he had seen when he was growing up, I'm telling you guys, he wouldn't be standing on a stage in front of all of Grant Cardone's 10,000 people in one room and 100,000 people on a virtual event telling his story. Do you know why Grant Cardone put him on the stage? Because he could move the crowd to believe that they could do and be and have things that they had never had before. And in order for Grant Cardone to get anyone to want to do his Cardone Capital or, you know, her real estate company or any of the training and events that they do, which bring a ton of value, they're worth every cent I've ever paid. It's just most people would be like, who am I to think? And you know what, guys? Real estate isn't my main gig. I just love it as a hobby. Like, I love it as a hobby. It makes me happy. Yesterday, Dave and I were in a dusty old house tearing 25, 30-year-old brown carpet off of a stairway just to see if there was real wood under it. And last night I had a sinus infection, and this morning I woke up doing a neti pot in both sides. Not to mention yesterday I had Girl Scout cookies in the morning. I did have the raspberry flip. Then we went to our favorite Mexican restaurant. We got the queso and the chips before. Have you ever had such an upset stomach that you literally look in the mirror and go, pain of discipline or pain of regret? Yesterday, I did not have discipline. I was so miserable. I literally almost posted on Facebook. Does anybody have anything that can fix my gurgling stomach as I'm laying on the couch? I told Dave, I feel like one of those cows that you see along the side of the road in Kansas when like nobody has known they've been laying there dead for 2 days and they're like exploding. And he's like, mine's more like a porcupine. We're like all in the misery, right? But it was so good. It was so good. It just wasn't good enough to feel that bad. And I think for some of you guys, you're all caught up in like, oh, it's going to be good. It's going to be, and it's temporary. It's like the fried ice cream last night. It's like the Thin Mints yesterday. It's like the caramel delights before that and the flip in the morning and the chips and queso. Like it feels good at the moment, but none of us are thinking about down here, where we're going to be. You know what Robert from Shark Tank said? He said, before I buy any company, before I team up with any business partner, I ask them one question. What's your target? And you guys, people that don't have a target, people that don't know what the target is, people who don't share your purpose, people who don't have your passion. Like, can you imagine you're on a team with a dual tennis player And maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your boss, maybe it's your coach in whatever sport you're in or whatever. Like, imagine that you're trying to win this match and you're hitting it with all your might, and someone else is like not really feeling it. Like, you want to wake up and go to the gym at 5, but they're not really feeling it. Like, you've got to be in alignment with your values, with your passion, with your purpose. And when I'm listening to this guy, even though I have no ever dream of ever going to the Spartan place and running the race, I want to meet him. I want to be around him. I want to get to know him, because he says the one thing that people noticed, whether he was cleaning pools, then he went to Wall Street, became a multimillionaire on Wall Street before, good thing is probably that he left Wall Street before everything happened, and now he has a Spartan event place. But he said the thing that everyone said about him is that you've got a hustle about you. Like, you've got a fire about you. And you guys, I want to wake that up in you, because I know that deep down, under the layers, under all the things that people have told you that you've done wrong, under all the mistakes, under all the crap that has smothered that purpose and passion that you had, like when you were a kid and you were dreaming and you were like, I want to be a fireman, I want to be a dancer. I mean, I wanted to be a dancer, and then I was one, and I was like, I'm not that good of a dancer, like, I want to be a beautician, and I got this big salon, and then I was like, oh, I'd rather be a mom, and then I want to be a mom, and still today, like, I just want to be a mom and a grandma. Like, that's really my purpose and my passion. But in order to be a mom and a grandma that really is an amazing mom and a grandma, I need to build an empire. I need to leave a legacy. I need to write more books. I need to build the camp for addicts and depression and mental, illness. And like, I need to be able to really have the passion project. And so for me right now, it's not about the money. It's not about how it's all going to happen. It's that I feel so good. Energy is everything, and everything is energy. That if I say this is the target, like Robert on Shark Tank asked the question. I mean, how many of you don't even know what your target is by the end of the year, but you're busting your butt, you're grinding every day. You don't even know what the target is. When you know what the target is, then the universe is going to show up. Like, if I know my goal is to be able to, this is my goal, my chief aim in life, build nonprofits, give back, create a legacy, have an empire, create a residual income that comes in every single month so I can be and do and have whatever while I'm being a great mom and a great grandma. I mean, if Knox says to me like he did the other day, how about you come here on spring break? And Jet says, let's go to Disney and Universal. I don't want to be like, how much are the tickets? Maybe someday we can go, because someday I might not be here next year, right? One thing that I learned in November of 2022 is this. Someone can be here on October 1st and gone on November 17th, and it could be you. And that was my moment where I was like, damn, like I got to get up and go. Like, I got to make things happen. I got to quit playing small. I can't sit here worrying about, and oh my goodness, there's my number one favorite coach watching this live, Lisa Grossman. In fact, I think it was her that said to me, what do you want? Quit telling me about blah, 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 blah. What do you want? Call me back when you know what you want. And I mean, I will tell you guys, that is the most important thing anyone has ever said to me or you. And it's why we did the GFP. It's why we dropped our free course today, because some people don't even know what they want. Every sentence, like me, starts out, but I love these people, but I have these companies, but I own this business, but we bought these lake homes, but we, like, you got to figure out what you want. And the minute that you decide what you want, not just what you want, but what you really, really want, like, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I think there's a song like that too. I don't know what's up with all the lyrics today. Everything that glitters is not gold. Write that down. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. That's the only 2 songs I got for you. And I suck at singing, so you're not going to get me to sing them. But in the 2 aha moments of the 10X event that I got this week was, Robert, most important investment you ever make is in you. And the second thing was, you got a hustle about you. And some people say, I just don't have a hustle about me. That's because nobody's ever stirred up your dream. Like, if you knew what you wanted, if I said right now, Linda, what do you really, really want? Carla, one of my greatest friends, Carla was my upline that taught me how to buy a $4,000 St. John suit and not feel guilty. Like, this is a farm girl in a sundress. I had boots and a belt in the room in Chicago and a rotten sundress and flip-flops that had some fringy things swinging on them with like the little Indian beads. Like, girl, I was never, ever taught how to dress for success. And I saw how this woman dressed. Her husband and her were from Scottsdale. They owned hotels. My husband went there to a meeting. They had a riding vacuum. Dave came home, I'm mopping and I'm vacuuming green stripes in our hunter green carpet with the mauve wallpaper and 2 babies and one on the way with those little Gerber chew sticks that they use for their teeth all over in my green carpet. I'm sweeping for days. He comes home, she's got a riding vacuum. I'm like, I want a riding vacuum. I want to meet this lady, right? I meet her, coolest lady ever, from South Dakota, right up where my dad lives now. She wakes up every morning. She's a yogi like crazy. Like, she's in her 70s. Like, she spent a month sewing a blanket for my granddaughter that wasn't even born yet. And it was the nicest gift ever. And she's an old friend, old not meaning in age, like from years and years and years. And we've even been in separate companies, but we're still like besties. She's made millions of dollars, millions of dollars. I will ask her, what makes you the happiest? Well, I love to go see my grandkids. I love South Dakota. I love being around my family. She'll tell me all about them. And you guys, that's her. My question is, what is you? Like, what is your absolute bliss? What makes you so freaking happy you would do it for free, like me painting those cosbears? Or there's a lot of things that I love to do. Like, that's why I say I need 3 lifetimes to live it all. I am so much fun. I am so much fun sober. Add alcohol, I'm a lot of work. I just am a sober, fun, loving person. I got to do what I can do to be me and to have fun. And more important than anything, I've got to make an impact. Because if I went through all of this struggle, suffering, pain, lessons, good decisions, bad decisions, whatever, just for this, I'd be like, wow, God, like, that was a sucky play. Like, I want to really be able to take everything that he has allowed to happen in my life and be on a stage saying, if you're going through pain, addiction, heartbreak, breast cancer, parents' divorce, bankruptcy in the paper. Oh, let me not mention a freaking lawsuit that was meant to kill me and destroy me. But God used it not as a setback, but a comeback, right? Like, in the midst of these things, a bull rider with a broken leg, when we live in Wyoming, we're at a food pantry. Like, he moves me there for the nightly rodeo, then a 2,000-pound bovine like that wants to kill him. Like, he's getting a spit bath and he has a cast and 3 surgeries for the year, and we can't even buy milk and bread. I have been through so many chapters, you guys, but my philosophy is this: it's a chapter. It's not a lifetime. And you and I were built not to break. We were built not to break. I want to tell you this little quote I keep right on my desk. Forgiveness is you giving up that the past could have been any different. Every chapter of my life, I will not look up and say, God, why would you allow this again? God, why this lesson? God, why this situation? Like, I'm not asking any more questions. He has my full attention. And I know this: if I can figure out what is my values and I can do what's in alignment with my values, I want you to look yourself in the mirror and say, if I can figure out what I'm good at, if I can figure out what I can do that's in alignment with my values, that I could be happy every single day of my life and love my life, and it was in alignment with the things that I believe in, why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't you? Like, what are you waiting for? You're just doing the same things that you've always done, expecting to get a different result. And the Chinese proverb is, that is insanity. So most of y'all are insane. I know, I've been there. But the day that you make a decision, see, you're the one with the pen. You can change the narrative. You can co-create anything you want in life. You have to believe that first. And I just want to be the one to tell you, you can if you will. Most people won't. And of all, I filled this thing. I mean, you guys, 2 speakers, and I filled this notebook. I literally filled it. Blue pen, white paper. It was so, so, so good. The only thing I'm not sure, this is the buffet where you take what you want and not all of it. This guy that did $900 million said, fire first, then aim. I wasn't real sure about that. Fire, aim, then get ready. I wasn't real sure about that. And then when I got done, I was like, that's because that's not my values. Because one of my values is security, right? Whether you're a risk taker or you're not, whether you're a believer or you're not, whether you're a green or a red or a blue or a yellow, I don't really care. I know this. Technology changes, products change, the world changes, social media, the news, everything changes. But one thing about it, people don't change. People don't change. We're all going to get our needs met one way or another, good or bad. And we're all going to have certain values that we were created to have. And we're all going to go. And we're all going to stay. And we're all going to build. And we're all going to work where we know we're going to get our needs met. People just get their needs met. That's how we all survive. And if you really knew what your values were, and you really knew what your purpose was, and you really developed a dream with a burning desire. I'm not talking about a sound good thing like, I want to level up. I want to be the next rank. I want to pay off my credit card. No, what do you really, really want so bad that you would lose sleep over it? You would drive the miles like I did. I am so grateful we don't have to do that anymore. You would be on the phone every night like I was. Literally 2 babies hanging on my leg. I'm trying to find the closet with the blankets in it just to hide and try to close a lead that I spent $100 on. You guys, I would have done anything, any price, any sacrifice, anything you told me to do. My mentor said, do this, this, and that. You can have, be, and do anything you ever dream of. I freaking did it. And I just wish that every one of you had a mentor like I had that could stir you up so big, so big. The last question that they asked Robert was, if you could do anything different in your entire life, what would you have done differently? And do you know what he said? I would have got a bigger dream and a better vision sooner. I would be so much more successful and have been able to impact so many more people had I done this exercise sooner. And you know, my mentor, good, bad, ugly, it's very controversial. Carla's on here. We both had the same mentor. He created so many multimillionaires. Brian McMullen, one of my good friends, he always says, Barb, why don't you just be a trainer? Like, we both had the same mentor and nobody did it better than him. It's just, he's not the messenger anymore. Like, why don't you just do that? I'm like, I know, Brian, like, it's true. Yes, we did. I mean, everyone that followed that system was making millions of dollars or changing lots of lives. Like, whatever their dream was, it was happening. And even the underdog, like Dave and Barb Pitcock in the middle of Kansas, who were destined to fail, right? Nope, not with the right mentor. You guys, I believe in this life, you will be the average of your environment. I'm always trying to get in a circle with people that are smarter than me. Like, if I can sit at a table with a billionaire, my biggest weakness is I talk too much and I don't listen enough. And I'm working so hard on that. So hard on that. The other day, Dave and I sat down at a table with a billionaire. On the way home, he said to me, I thought you said you were just going to sit and listen. Like, Dave wanted to listen. And I just have a hard time sitting and being quiet, right? Because I'm just always so excited. But the reality is, the people that you meet, the circle that you're in, the books that you read, the events that you attend, the things that you let get in here, it will co-create everything that you get in reality. Because see, we don't get what we want. We're going to get who we are. And some of us need to get better. So the only thing I'm doing right now on absolute faith is getting better every single day. I'm just working on myself. I am praying with discernment. I am listening. I am growing. I am attracting. I am doing the thing that I love, whether I get paid for it or not. And I know that I know that I know, you guys. Good things come to people who are what they want. And I want to impact all of you in a way that you are never going to be the same. I want to get you to get out of your comfort zone. I want you to sit down today, Write down everything that you want in life as if there's no way that you could fail. Then I want to take it a step further and say, what is stopping you from getting that? What is the stop program? We reframe that. We take all the good out of it so you can quit being hung up and mad and sad and, just resentful and hateful and wishing that those people would get a dose of what they get. And, like, blah, none of that's going to bring good. You reframe it all and you get the good. And then you go, okay, like, this is my dream. This is the chapter I'm in right now. This is how I'm going to reframe it. What is my purpose? And then you just go step into it like the boss that you are. And you guys, it's going to be so amazing. You want to write a book? Call me. I'll help you write a book. I got my publisher right on speed dial, and it'll be on Amazon next month. You want to be on a stage? You want to do your own seminar? You want to start a business? You want a brick and mortar? You want to join a network marketing company? You want a private label? Like, I don't care what you do. You will be great when you start doing what you love, because it's your energy that you're actually happy instead of looking like you got weaned on a dill pickle or something. Like, quit being miserable and go figure out what you want. Like Lisa said to me, what do you really want? And then sometimes it's okay to say, I don't know what I want. And you know what? That's okay. It might not come to you right away. You might have to pray about it with a lot of discernment. But when you know, you'll know. And then you'll have this aha moment. I mean, I call it the Holy Spirit, where he was just like, boom. And then I was like, no way am I doing that. That's scary. And then he was like, boom. And then I was like, Dave. I mean, I always wake Dave up when it happens. Like, Dave, I got to tell you what's happening. And I know sometimes he thinks I'm crazy, but if you know, you know. Like, when you ask, you will receive. Open the door. I'm telling you guys, knock, open. If you can't get through it, get an axe, beat the door down. Like, you've got to want it so bad that you will go after it, that you will do the discipline, that you might take a step back. You might even have to sacrifice, but all of a sudden you're going to be like, aha, I made it through the jungle. And I didn't share that story, but I'll end with it. Jerry Clark was one of my favorite speakers at an event when we were in our 20s. And he was talking about the jungle and making it through to paradise. And he said, you're over here. And he said, you're going to need some thick skin, like rhino skin, like so thick, like you couldn't puncture it with a knife, like leather. And he said, when you're going through the jungle from where you're at to where you want to be, there are going to be people hunting you down. Like, they want to kill you. They will steal your dream. They're going to say, I told you so. They're going to be watching, just making sure that you don't succeed. They might even make up some lies about you. They're going to laugh at you. You're going to have sickness. You're going to have trauma. You might have tragedy. You might have setbacks. Your finances might be attacked. But you got to have thick skin, and you got to keep going. You can't just stop because someone texts you and says, oh my gosh, did you know? Did you see? Let me tell you something. Big people talk about ideas. They talk about the future. They talk about the things they're going to create. Small people talk about people. They gossip, they jab, they instigate. We call them the instigators. They got to text you, stir it up, update you, share, copy, paste. Did you see this screenshot? Like, run, you guys, run, and go get around some people that are talking about big ideas and big things that they want to do. Yesterday in the office, one of my friends, Chris Draper, called. And they just opened this cookie business, just exploding. And he was one of my top leaders. And, I could be sad, like, oh, I wish he was still selling for me so I could benefit. We do a lot together, but I'm so happy for his success. And, I get a lot of calls at the office, and my niece is our office manager, and she hears all the calls and all the conversations. But that call is different, because when he calls, he's not complaining. He's not discussing other people. He doesn't even bring up anything like that. When he calls, he's like, you're not going to believe this. I found a location. I'm doing a franchise. We're at this event for Honda. Like, it's big ideas. It's big things, right? It's big success. It's the future. And then in another sentence, he says, tell me when you come to town. Love to take you to dinner. We still love you guys. We miss you guys. I wish you all the success in the world. We're still friends. He's made it through the jungle. It wasn't easy. He made it through the jungle. He's having his success. Some of you are over here. You're trying to fit a square bolt in a round hole. You just keep hitting a dead end, and you don't even like what you're doing. You're stuck in a cubicle. You're getting paid whatever wage they tell you, how you can dress, what you can wear, when you go to lunch, when you wake up, when you get off, when you have vacation, when you see your kids. can't even take a phone call. Like, you are destined for so much more than all these rules, but you've got to break out, like experience the breakout. And you're going to do that with the GFP that we launched free at davidandbarb.com. It's free, davidandbarb.com. I can't talk anymore. I started 5 minutes late, so I'm 5 minutes over, but I was getting all these streams on all these different pages. And I just want to tell you guys, I'm happier than I've ever been. I want you to be happier than you've ever been, but know this. There's no book or magic bullet or speaker or trainer or coach that's going to make you happier than you've ever been. It's an inside job, and you will never figure it out until you do that GFP. So go get it, and I look forward to seeing you guys next Saturday on No Guts, No Story. Have a great day, everyone.